Okay, so today we're going to be going through Ashtanga. We're going to be going through the latter part of the standing sequence, and then we're going to be processing how we kind of attempt jump throughs, and we're going to break it down a little bit. So we're going to have moments where we are very much in the Ashtanga rhythm, doing the postures. We'll do the Surya Namaskar A and Bs a lot, quite traditionally. But even in that, I'll kind of encourage you to experience everything you can, try and move in slightly different ways, engage the body in new ways to try and really just brighten up and liven up what can sometimes be a repetitive practice, or by definition is. And the jump through bit is very much going to be a little bit more workshoppy. So we're going to take a step out of the sequence just to try and practice some strength drills to get us to jump through, and then do a few of the seated sequence before we finish. Make sure that you are doing what feels comfortable to you. We're going to start with a little warm-up, learning about opening and closing the front of the body again, and different ways of muscle engagement, specifically focusing on the core, to try and get a deeper dive into how we can articulate the body to benefit us when we're doing postures, and how we can notice the habitual things we do, like my habitual holding my shoulders up and squeezing things a bit too tight, and if we can release those so that yoga becomes even more physically beneficial. So let's start on the mat. Whatcha. And we're actually going to start lying down just for a little bit of learning about core engagement. So I might come a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. So we're going to start on our backs like this. Et voila. And we're just learning about articulating the spine, really, and pelvic tilt, and engaging the whole front of the core to squeeze the pelvis together, and squeeze the pelvis up towards the rib cage. So on an inhale, I want you to lift your chest away and really curve down through the spine. So you're pressing your buttocks into the floor and you're creating a hollow in your back. But at the same time, you're zipping up in your low belly. So you're still sucking your belly towards the spine. And you get a kind of almost engagement of the thigh bones drawing back into the earth. So there's activity in the legs there. Lovely. And then as we exhale, we're going to tuck belly towards spine, uncurve the spine and press the low back down, squeezing the rib cage down towards the floor and tilting the pelvis up towards the rib cage. So we're kind of hooking our body around and really engaging the core. And we're going to do that a few more times. See, as if you inhale, you feel the ribs flare up, the legs draw down, hip bones really sinking into the floor, lifting through the chest. And then as you exhale, tying the rib cage down, drawing the belly right back towards the earth and feeling that low back flatten, keeping that suction up and in of the low belly. Twice more, inhale, lift, this time feeling the shoulders a little bit more, noticing the grounding, feeling that sense of opening, but also that sense of grounding through the parts of the body that are still attached to the ground. And then use that exhale, really feel the activation of the muscle. Notice where you start. Do you start in your pelvis? Is it the ribs that lead the movement? Lovely. Last time, inhaling. And this time, whichever, whether it's the ribs or the hips, try and lead the exhale with your non-dominant part of the body. So for me, I always lead with the ribs. So now I'm going to try and sink the hips first and then tie the rib cage in. And then staying in this contracted position for a moment. So breathing in and out, but keeping that flat back to the floor. We're just going to gently reach the hands towards our heels, lift the chest a little bit, and tuck that low belly down and in. So we're focusing on this low little bit of the belly here, right at the bottom, in between the hip bones. And we're going to stack the knees on top of the, like this, yes, you got it, and suck down. And it's just about learning to have that little activation here. So there should be a little pulse at the bottom of your belly, and if you squeeze in, your knees move slightly towards you without actually having to move your legs. Don't worry, it's pretty subtle, and it's also super intense. So I'm already shattered. I feel like this should be the whole class. Hold there for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, roll onto your front. Have a little bit of a moment here. And again, we're going to do the same thing, but on our bellies, and this is going to feel really weird. So actually, we might want to stack our hands in front of us, one on top of the other. And in order to close the rib cage, in order to close the front body, we're going to draw our ribs up and push our hips down towards the floor, hollowing out our body. And it will feel like our whole abdomen's coming off the floor. And then to open it up, we're going to press down and lift. So lifting hands, lifting feet. And we're going to do that 3 more times. So as we hollow out, we're actually going to inhale this time, lifting through the belly, lifting through the ribs, drawing the ribs up towards the ceiling, hollowing out through the belly, pushing the hip bones down and anchoring that pubic bone down to the floor. And then as we inhale, we're lifting the chest, lifting the legs. Okay, we'll just do that once more. Really feel it. It should feel like we're using our core. You're sucking. Everything is moving. And again, notice where the movement starts and reverse it. So I'm going to start in the hips and then lower the chest and then lift. Nice. And then exhale, pushing back onto the knees. Giving it a little bit of a shake out. So we've kind of communicated a little bit. We start to build a bit of muscular memory, like, oh, okay, this feels weird. I notice where my body is in these different shapes. And we focus on the core. We're going to have a little focus on the shoulders while doing a little bit of breathing. So rest your palms on your lap. Close your eyes for a moment. And this is coming back into the mindfulness of the Ashtanga practice. The gift that the Ashtanga practice gives us is that sense of pattern and that sense of rhythm that allows our mind to really drop into a mindful, aware state. So allow yourself to do that now. Allow the busy day to drift into the back of the mind. And allow your awareness to build in how you feel right now, your fingertips, your toes. And there is no judgment there. There is no good or bad, right or wrong. There is just experience. Fascination, intrigue. Lovely. And we're going to begin to build into the Ujjayi breath. So if you haven't heard of that breath before, that's fine. We'll do two breaths to build up into it. So as we inhale, we're going to breathe fully and deeply through our nostrils, allowing them to flare. And as we exhale, we're going to out like you're fogging up a window. So 2 more times with me, inhaling fully, deeply. Feel the ribcage open, the diaphragm lower down. Everything is building and opening. Pause for a moment and then out of the mouth. Last time, inhaling. Exhale through the mouth. And this time we're going to do the same sensation, but we're going to do the ha sound with the mouth closed through the nose. And it's just a constriction in the back of the throat. It feels a bit weird when you first do it. You'll pick it up, so don't place too much stress on it. Taking an inhale. And as soon as we try and manipulate our breath, we begin to hold. We begin to judge. Moving away from that holding. So as you're building that Ujjayi breath, that calming wave-like rolling breath, let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let the exhale soften the parts of the body that do not need to move. The hands grow heavy. The jaw relaxes. And as you relax the jaw, you might even feel it in the breath. It becomes broader, it becomes more open. This isn't a breath, although it's constriction in the back of the throat, it isn't a breath of great effort. It's a breath of focus. And actually relaxing into it can create a broader, deeper sound. Lovely. You, your breath, your mat, your focus. This is yoga. You're doing it. When you're ready, allow an inhale to bring some awareness into the fingertips. And an exhale, gently open your eyes, keep that gaze soft and come up to standing at the front of your mat. Amazing. I just need to adjust the camera. Everyone takes a little sprint. Lovely. Awesome. Okay. Let me know if you can't see me. So we're coming to the front of our mat. We're going to bring our palms together. Feel each and every fingertip as it presses against the other. And then nestle gently that thumb down into the center of the chest. You might even be able to feel your heartbeat, feel your breath. Allow the Ujjayi breath to pick up again. And I'm just going to encourage you to experience the drawing down of the shoulder blades. Helping facilitate that is this sense of the elbows drawing down towards the hip bones, the shoulder blades sink down towards your low back. And feel the space that creates at the top of your traps, the top of your neck. We're going to go through Surya Namaskara A and B 3 times each. The first time I am going to guide you and I'm going to encourage exploration. The second 2 repetitions are yours to own and explore. Okay, when you're ready, open your eyes, allow your hands to drop to the side. Find your drishti, find your focus. You're not looking anywhere, but there is a kind of looking into the horizon feel of where your eyes are placed. You're looking beyond what is actually there. Take an inhale, sweep the hands up, fill the lungs, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, fold forward. Feel that tucking in and hollowing out of the belly that we were experiencing when we were lying on the ground. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Scoop the chest forward, shrug the shoulders down the back. Feel that sense of anticipation as the weight pours into the front of the feet. Exhale, place the hands on the ground, lean that weight into the hands and hop or step back into a plank, moving down into Chaturanga. As your hips hit the floor, suck the low belly up and in, pushing the pelvis into the ground just like we did at the start as we were lying on our fronts and coming up to a cobra or an up dog. Wherever you are, I want you to roll your shoulders back into their sockets, broaden across the chest and collarbones. And the intention is to lift forward and up, like you're scooping ice cream, all the way in a nice arc. Nice. Draw the low belly in, lead with the tummy as we arch through the back and roll back to downward dog. First downward dog of the day. Hello, body. Take a moment and just feel. Don't change, don't shift, don't move, just notice. What is here? What is arising in your body? What is arising in your mind? And what can you let go of? What can you let float by like a cloud? Amazing. Feel each and every fingertip on the ground. Bend the elbows slightly and wrap them in towards one another, feeling that sense of strength build through the shoulder girdle. Draw up and back in the belly button, and as you do this, the sit bones, your tip of your bottom, reaches towards the ceiling. Everything is becoming more alive and more active. On an inhale, gaze forward, come up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, bend the knees, keep sucking the belly in, hop or step your feet to the front of your mat. Take an inhale here, you lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, tuck the chin in towards the neck, release entirely for a millisecond. Right at the end of the exhale, you surrender completely, and then as you inhale, you build that energy to sweep you back up, gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, release the hands down by your sides. 2 more times your way. I will keep speaking, but you do not need to listen. Inhale, sweep the hands up, gaze up, Ujjayi breath, keep it rolling. Exhale, fold forward, release the head and neck. Inhale, lift and lengthen, gaze is forward. Gaze with your eyes, not with your neck. You can keep the neck in neutral. Exhale, press the hands down, lean the weight into the hands, push into the heels of the hands, and hop or step back to your Chaturanga. Lowering to the floor with the exhale, inhale, lifting to up dog, coming onto the tips of the toes if you can, arching through the chest in a long, broad arch. Create space, not tightness. If it feels like it's compressing or shrinking, ease away. Draw the belly up and in, fire up that core as you roll back to downward dog and find your anchor space. That place you come back to. Sinking your awareness into where you are right now. This is your anchor. Downward dog in the Ashtanga practice is the anchor. Relax the shoulder blades away from the ears. Make the most of this amazing posture that allows you to access your full lung capacity in the back of your body, breathing into the back. On the next inhale, gaze forward, come up onto the tiptoes, draw the belly in. Exhale, keep that belly squeezing in, bend the knees, hop or step your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, release completely for a moment, full exhale. Inhale, sweep the hands up, gaze up. Exhale, Samastitihi, standing. Inhale, sweep the hands up, gaze up. Again, your time, do as many as you can. I'm going slow, maybe you're fitting in 5 today. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, shift the weight forward. Maybe you hop, maybe you jump, maybe you flop. All the way back. Inhale, lift through the chest, up dog or cobra. Wherever you are, your neck is as long as it can be, growing, blossoming out of your shoulder girdle. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes, press up and back to your downward dog. Breathe here. Breathe long, breathe strong. And remember, sometimes it's the letting go, it's the opening that broadens and deepens your breath and your practice. You got this. Hopping or stepping to the front of the mat when you're ready. Exhaling fully, inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, release. Whew, that was fun. Okay, Surya Namaskara B, same thing. So I'm going to lead the first one, and then the second 2 I'm going to chat through, but it's entirely up to you. Bend the knees, lift the hands, coming up into chair pose. Playing a little bit with the postural tilt here, sucking the belly in, scooping the sit bones towards the ankles and deepening in to your sitting posture. Gazing up to the thumbs. Take an inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen, gaze forward. Exhale, plant those hands, tuck and wrap the elbows back. Shift the weight forward, hop, step or jump your way to your chaturanga. Lowering down with the exhale, inhale, lift up, up dog. Exhale, roll back, down dog. Straight away, stepping that right foot forward, cupping the left foot round, sweeping up, hands together. Feel the power and the lift through the fingertips, the power and the press through the feet. Exhale, lower down, step back, chest comes to floor. Inhale, lift, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down, rolling back, downward dog. Stepping that left foot straight forward, sweeping up with the hands, gaze up. Warrior. Feel strong. Exhale, place those hands down, step back, lower down. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, lower, draw in the belly, all the way back to downward dog. Press through the whole surface of the hands. Ease the heels towards the floor. Take a breath to broaden through the back. Inhale, Gazing forward, rising to the toes. Exhale, bend the knees, hop, step or jump your way to the front of the mat. Exhale completely there. And then inhale, half fold. Exhale, fold again. Sweeping all the way up, bending deep into the knees. Uttanasana, chair pose. And exhale, straighten the legs, Samastitihi. Okay, 2, your way, explore, enjoy. Inhaling, sweeping the hands up, gazing to thumbs, bending the knees. Exhaling, pouring that weight forward, feeling like it's a dive. Inhale, lift and lengthen, half fold. Exhale, hands to the floor. Keep the gaze forward as you lower yourself down to Chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the chest, up dog or cobra. Exhale, roll back, down dog. Gazing forward, keeping height in the legs as you step the right foot forward, cut the left foot round, sweep up. Warrior, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale, hands come to the floor, stepping back, lowering down. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, roll back, downward dog. Stepping the left foot forward, cupping the right foot round, sweep up. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Feel really rooted there, planting yourself into the ground. Lower down. Inhale, lifting to up dog. Exhale, down dog. When you're ready, hopping, stepping or jumping your way to the front of the mat. Exhale, folding. Inhale, sweeping up to your chair pose. Squeeze the legs together. Get that sense of zipping up between the thighs. Exhale, release. One more time. This time I'm going to watch you. So when you're ready, sweep the hands up, lift up, gaze up. Exhale, fold, releasing down. Inhale, half fold. Really tuck those shoulders back, broaden them. Nice. Exhale, plant the hands. Hop, step or jump your way back to downward dog. Downward dog, Chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the chest. Broaden through the chest. Amazing. Exhale, lead with the chin. Tuck it down and in and roll the body back. Downward dog. Stepping that foot forward. Take that breath, sweep it up. Enjoy the glide. That's the fun bit. Exhale, plant down, gazes forward as you lower. Nice. Inhale, lift through the chest. Rolling in, that's really good. Exhale, roll back. It's always hard because I watch you on the meanest bit. Step that foot forward. Inhale, sweep up. Yes, extend through the fingertips. Exhale, plant the hands, you're grounded. Yeah, lower down. Inhale, lift through the chest. Draw the low belly up and in still. And roll back, downward dog. All right. Take a moment, find your breath, spread your fingers, lift your toes, spread your toes. Find the rhythm of the Ujjayi breathing. See if you can spread the shoulders a little by relaxing them away from the ears. Nice. Micro bend in the elbows. Really release the head. The gaze is between the legs or to the belly button. I never like looking at my belly button. I find it weird. Okay, when you're ready, inhale. Gaze comes forward, rolling to the top of the toes. Exhale, bend the knees. Hop, step or jump your way to the front of the mat. Lift and lengthen for a moment. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Uttanasana. And exhale, release. We're going to do 2 forward folds and then we're going to start our new bit of the flow. So with an inhale, press down in the feet, lift up in the core, lengthen through the top of the head. With an exhale, come to hook the toes with your 2 fingers. Inhale, lift and lengthen, gaze forward. Weight pause slightly into the front of the feet. Exhale, scoop the belly towards the thighs. Nice. So you may be on the shins at this point. And I want you to play with tightening that low back up and in. So you're closing the front body and then open it and notice what your habit is. And maybe once or twice in a practice you could close rather than open, or open rather than close. Try taking those elbows out to the side. Take another inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, release the hands, tuck them under the feet, toes tickling the wrist creases. Take another inhale here, shrug those shoulders down, you're blossoming, you're blooming through the chest right in front of you. Exhale, tuck the chin, release the head towards the ground. If you are not quite in that forward fold position, you can bend the knees again and just wrap the hands behind the back of the legs to get that sense of binding. Nice. Allow the Ujjayi breath to take your focus into your body. One last exhale. Inhale halfway up, place the hands on the waist, take it all the way to the ceiling, standing straight. Exhale, release, toes together, Samastitihi. And now we're going to open out wide into our wide leg pose across the long edge of the mat. You might want to move your laptop if you have it in front of you, and spread the hands out to the side. We're going to do a quick little warm up through some of the standing postures, just so we're not feeling too stiff to go into the last part of the sequence. So turn your right toes to point to the short edge of your mat and reach over, Trikonasana. Again, see if you, just for this moment, can try closing the front body. Our temptation in all these postures is to reach out and try and be as big and as long as possible, but actually coming back into the solidity of the core can help us lengthen out safely through our limbs and through the rest of our body. Take an inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend into that front knee. And then bring forearm down, lifting over. Awesome. If this feels super good, you can slide that forearm to the inside or the outside of the foot. Traditions say different things. Maybe heel toe that left foot further away. Just experience how it feels to be in this position. And again, imagine someone's rolling your whole body up towards the ceiling. And practice just drawing that shoulder blade away from the ear. So that top hand, that left hand, will have a tendency to close down towards the ear and compress everything. See if we can open and broaden. Exhale, gaze down. Push off that front leg, straighten it up and rotate to the other side. Left toe pointing forward. Take an inhale here. Engage through the core. Telescope, lift through the rib cage. Exhale. Nice. Nice. And again, you can look up to the thumb. That's the traditional posture. But if your neck, like mine, is grumpy, you can also look down or just relax the neck. The gaze is with the eyes. So you can still be gazing up with the eyes while relaxing the neck. Lovely. Again, push into both feet and see if you can let that right hip extend down towards the right foot so you get that extra stretch in that side. When you're ready, bending that front leg. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, rolling forearm down to thigh, reaching over. Or maybe your hand comes to the floor. Again, the neck rule applies. Don't feel like you have to be twisting and contorting. Search for space. Effort doesn't have to mean strain or compression. Awesome. When you're ready, engage the core first. Feel the feet firm on the ground. Take an inhale, lift up, pressing through that front foot. Exhale, coming back to standing at the front of the mat. Take an inhale, lift both hands up towards the ceiling. And exhale, fold forward, hooking the toes. Take an inhale, lift and lengthen. Gaze forward. Exhale, elbow out to the side, taking the top of the head down towards the floor. If this is far beyond where you are right now, bend the knees. And just stay in a flat back position with your head reaching forwards. 2 more deep breaths here. On the next inhale, we're going to inhale halfway up, bring the hands to the hip, exhale here. Inhale all the way up. And exhale to the front of the mat, hands together, Samastitihi. Nice. Bring your hands behind us, coming into prayer position or reverse prayer, with the hands together at the back of the chest, or if this is too much, holding elbows behind your back. Our tendency here, once we start opening the chest, is to buckle through the hips and send the bum back. I want you to keep your bum in neutral by hooking the hips forward while opening the chest. Ooh, strange one. Step back with that foot, pointing it towards the short edge of the mat. Lift up through the chest and then exhale. Send the bottom back, and by doing that, you'll find yourself folding forward. If you are hands together, you can start just creeping them up towards your neck. I also find something really fun to do is try and draw the elbows down towards the hips again, creating space but also stretch. Find that focus point towards the toe. Or if you can get chin to shin, that's amazing as well. Two more deep breaths. Tunnel your focus into where you are right now. See if you can really draw back in that right hip. And then on the inhale, let that lift you up. Rolling all the way around on the feet, exhaling down to the other side. Again, lead that fold with the tilt of the hips. It feels different. And if you're leading with the tilt of the hips, you start to notice when you start to round through the back. And maybe you've gone too far. Maybe you need to stay a little bit further up today. Nice. Again, curl up through the core. Feel that starting your lift, and then breathe in deeply, lifting all the way up, opening the hands out to the side, and then stepping forward, Samastitihi. We're going to do the balancing posture, so I'm going to come and face you so you can see me wobble. Okay. So, to start with, just begin to pour the weight with an exhale into your left foot. And then you're going to inhale and feel your right foot come up into the air. Ooh. Hooking the toe if you can. If that leads to you falling over, you can hold the leg, you can bend the knee. Nice. And bring the other hand to the hip. And what you want to be doing is trying not to put the weight and bend and compress. Trying to lift out of that standing leg, trying to blossom that chest up towards the ceiling, and trying to suck that thigh back into its socket. Our tendency will be to try and lift it up to get a little bit more height. Opening out to the side, gazing across the other shoulder. And again, see if you can roll, so externally rotate through that hip, as if you're trying to get your pinky toes to the floor behind them. Oh yeah, super hard. You should be really wobbly right now. Great. And then with an inhale, bringing it back to the center. Use that suction, feel tight and secure here, and then exhale, chin towards shin. And then release and hold it there. Nice. So let that weight come backwards. Our tendency, again, will be to try and compress. Good. And then as the weight is shifted back into the heel, then stack shoulders over hips and feel that center of gravity again. And exhale, shake it out. Breaking from the Ashtanga principle to give your booty a shake, because it's so needed right there. Okay, coming back in, taking a deep breath. Same thing, other side. Pouring weight into right foot, extending the hand out, lifting that left leg. Maybe we hook the toes, maybe we bend the knee and hold the shin. And again, if you're holding the shin, you can bring it out to the side. Let your body lift up the inhale and feel like you're pouring yourself over your leg. As you fold if you can, chin towards shin. Inhale, lifting up in the spine when you're ready and taking it out to the side. And again, feel that broadness, that rolling and opening of the body, that external rotation that ties that hip down into its socket. The neck should feel long here. And you should be wobbling, unless you've done this 6,000 million times. In which case, well done you. When you're ready, inhaling back to center. Take that inhale and then exhale, pour yourself over the leg, one more fold. Inhale, lift up, hover that leg off the floor. Amazing. See if you can make it straighter and stronger. Whoa, I'm gone. Okay. And exhale. Shake it out for a moment. Okay, so here's the bit where it feels like you're tying yourself in knots. So I'm going to take you through this step by step. Take a moment, come back into the breath. When you're ready, lifting your right foot off the floor, cupping underneath your ankle and placing it as high on your leg as you can. Nice. So it might be here. Yeah, you'll get there. If it's super far away, just resting in a kind of 4 across your shin. If you can get it up and into your hip crease, that's amazing. Then we just ask more and more of you. Welcome to Ashtanga. Sweeping the hand round, cupping it with hooking the toe with the fingers, allowing the chest to open, and then from there, possibly folding chin to shin. This asks a lot of many parts of your body, so please don't feel you have to go there if you don't have to. If you're exploring there, then I would encourage, if you've kind of got to this position, but you can't quite reach around the back of you, you can hold your arm or hold your trouser line and just stand. You can explore pouring your weight forward, but please don't fold completely because this is so mean on the knees if you're not ready for it. If you're folded in the pose, take one last exhale, inhale, half fold. Take an exhale there, just for your blood pressure to rebalance, and then inhale all the way up. And the target of every Ashtanga class is to inhale all the way up, and then perfectly slowly unwrap your leg and come back to a perfect standing position. However, if you've ever practiced it before, you'll notice that actually usually you're like, and that's great too. So when you're ready, we're going to try that on the other side. So see if we can be a bit more mindful. Just notice where in the body is saying no and how serious that no is. Because if it's the knee, then the no is very serious. But if it's kind of the back of the hip, that's where we're probably meant to feel it. So again, taking underneath the ankle and rolling it into where is high but comfortable. Linking around, tucking toe into fingers. Take that inhale there to lengthen and that exhale to fold. And you're really trying to shine your buttocks up towards the ceiling. Press your knee back in space and release towards your shin. Nice. So your tendency will be for one shoulder to open up to the side slightly. Over time, you want to see if you can draw that shoulder down and roll that whole body to be folding across that knee. But often anatomy gets in the way of that. Okay. Take one last grounding exhale if you're there. Enjoy the ride. Take an inhale up, pause, and then coming all the way up to standing and releasing very elegantly. Very nice. Awesome. So we're going to vinyasa and do our chair pose now. So take a breath. This is our time to get back into the flow for a moment. We've got a few more postures and then we're going to be into workshopping, jumping through. When you're ready, inhale, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift and lengthen, half fold. Exhale, plant those hands, roll the weight forward, hop or step back to your chaturanga, lowering to the ground on the exhale. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, roll back, downward dog. Just a moment in this downward dog, setting you up for your jump forward. If you can have some air time, do. So if you can pause in a little tuck or anything, that's great. If you want to have a few donkey hops, just to practice slowly lowering those feet down, that's amazing. If you want to step forward, you can as well. We're going to step forward into a bent kneed posture and lift up into chair. And again, playing with that chair, palms together, gazes up, shooting the fingertips to the ceiling, anchoring down through the pelvis and seeing if you can flatten that low back by scooping the sit bones underneath. Or maybe you're just struggling to stay there as it is and ignore all of those commands, don't worry. 3 more deep breaths. And on the next exhale, keep the legs bent, fold forward, hopping or stepping back to that downward, to that chaturanga. Inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, roll back, downward dog. Inhale, step the right foot forward. Coming up into warrior 1. Going to stay here for 5 breaths. So we're going to get comfy, bending that little bit more into that front knee, drawing that right hip back, left hip forward, and sinking equally through the hips. Gaze is up to the ceiling, palms are together, but see if you can free the shoulders a little by settling them down the back. On the next inhale, straighten that front leg, keep the gaze up towards the ceiling. We're rolling around to face the opposite direction. Coming into the posture on the left leg bent. Lovely. When you're ready, sweeping the right hand back, left hand forward, opening into your warrior 2. Gazing over the front hands. And this is time where you can work your drishti. So your gaze is super forward and you are focusing into the distance beyond the horizon. Letting your shoulders settle, letting your core lift up, closing the front body so the hips push forward, deepening the sensation. Okay, after the next exhale, inhale, straightening that front leg, rolling the feet around again, bending into the right knee, coming into that warrior 2 on the opposite side. And again, reset into that drishti, reset into that focus. Really push into that back edge of the back foot. Awesome. 2 more breaths. Full, deep. You've got this. One more inhale. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor. Step back into your plank pose. Lowering down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up dog. Exhale, roll back down dog. And then take a moment to bring your knees to the floor if you would like. And come into a child's pose, but looking forward. And I am going to demonstrate the ways we're going to practice building strength to jump through. So the first thing we're going to build is hand awareness. So we're going to spread those fingers really wide and send the hands a little bit out as if they're pointing out to the side. We're going to come up into our downward dog. And you're going to practice at your level. So we're going to have a few minutes. Level 1 is lifting the right foot off the floor, bringing right ankle towards right wrist, giving it a tap, keeping protracting through the shoulders, pushing the earth away, and then stepping back. And then shifting the left leg, gazing forward, shrugging the shoulders into their sockets, pushing the ground away, tapping wrist to ankle. And then coming back and repeating. Level 2, stepping one foot onto the top of the foot, wrist behind ankle, swapping. I'm joining the other foot and then taking the weight in your hands, holding here, protracting the shoulders, keeping the weight in your hands, and then stepping back. Oh gosh, it's hard work. It's actually easier. Once you've got the muscle memory of how to jump through, it's 10 times easier. It's over much quicker. And then level 3, we're going to put one foot down, step one foot through, and sit. That makes sense? And then you swap sides, coming back, stepping one foot forward, stepping one foot through, and sitting. It's all about that protraction. Awesome. I also welcome you having a little hop. Hopping to the top of the feet is hard, so just make sure that you're ready to take that weight. You can hop to the top of the feet and then try and hop through. Try that again. Hop to the top of the feet, have a bounce there, and hop through. Or you can do whatever you like. Yeah! Awesome. So having a little play with that, if you want to pause the video or do whatever you want, that's great. But this can be something that you get really fixated on that actually doesn't matter. So let go. I know your brain will be in drive mode now, reaching for that jump through, reaching for that perfect amount of balance, but it will come. Keep practicing. Bringing the hands by the sides of us, coming into Dandasana, extending the feet away. Sitting up tall on your sit bones, tucking the chin slightly into the chest. 5 deep rolling breaths. Put your Mula Bandha on, so suck your low belly up and also suck your pelvic floor up, if you know what that is, or it's like a lifting as if you're trying not to pee. Let your mind come back to the calmness. On the next inhale, reach forward for the toes. Exhale, fold. You can hook the toes. And in here, I'd really encourage you to almost lengthen your rib cage away, trying to get the bottom of your ribs towards your knees, and then folding down. Getting all that extra space over the low back. Gazes to the toes. I'm really bad at gazing to the toes because all I want to do is collapse in, but there's still some activity here in this posture. There's still some reaching of the chest. There's a lengthening back of the shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, maybe holding the edge of the feet, maybe binding your hands and reaching them over the legs. Nice, yeah. And play with taking the shoulders away from the ears and letting the chest win. And then play with reaching forward. Find what works for you. Notice how even as you shine the chest forward, it changes the sensation in the low back and in the pelvis. And then as you give it a little more, it changes that sensation again. Inhale, lift up. We're going to do a little pretend vinyasa. So we're going to cross one leg over the other, put the toes on the floor, bring the hands beside us, lift the bottom away from the ground, bring it back down and extend the legs again. Bringing the hands behind us, about a foot's distance, tucking the arms, tucking the fingers, and then bending the elbows and scooping them back and round. So you get a really open chest. Point the toes and either lift up in one straight line, coming into Purvottanasana, or if this is too much for you, you can bring the soles of the feet onto the floor and just lift into the hips, coming into a reverse bridge. Wherever you are, it's a rolling and an opening of the top of the body. If you're a handstander like me, my shoulders are super tight here. So I'm like, oh, breathe and shine that heart to the ceiling. Take another breath in. Exhale, lower down, release the hands. This time we're going to do it for real, our last proper vinyasa. So, if you would like to try a kind of interim of jumping back, then you can just cross the ankles, reach forward with the hands, and jump. If you've got your jump back, that's great. Lower down, inhale, lift through the chest. Exhale, roll back, downward dog. Okay, time for you to practice your jump through again. This is going to be fun, I promise. So you can hop, step, or jump forward. Again, try the balancing on the feet. Maybe sliding through in one go. Awesome. I didn't see you, so I'm imagining you just like did a handstand and then glided all the way through. Awesome. Okay, and then from here, we're going to do 2 twists, and then we will come into the finishing sequence. So, foot to the floor, twisting towards that bent leg, propping the hand behind you. Awesome. And gazing back. You can take your bind here, or you can not. It's up to you. And we're coming towards the finishing postures, so I'm going to add in a little cheeky nod Ashtanga thing. So when you're ready, if you want to unbind, and then just bring the forearm on the same side as the leg that is bent down, and lift the hand up and over, and see if we can get a bit of a stretch here. You could even lift up into a little hip lift, just finding some reclined enjoyment. And then pushing off that hand and swapping over to the other leg. Finding a twist. Good. Find that length, drop in the low belly, lengthen through the top of the head. Keep that extended foot active. And then if you want to, again, you can bring that back forearm down, lifting up. And then coming back to center when you're ready. We're going to take a bridge or a wheel. So lowering yourself onto the floor. You can do a little hiccup is what I call it, when you bring your feet cross them over and push your bottom off the floor just to reset. And then lower down onto your back. Find your feet just behind your buttocks. Roll your shoulders into the ground. And you're either pushing the hips up from here, keep the legs drawing in together, keep the weight pushing through the heels. If you're used to practicing wheel, then you can tuck those hands and lift up into wheel, and you're up there for 5 breaths. Wherever you are, then you're going to come down, reset, and you're going to go up again for 5 breaths, and then come down and reset. Wherever you are, I want your hip bones to be searching back towards your knees. And as you come down on the exhale, really feel like you're waving your spine super slowly onto the floor. Lovely. We're going to do that one more time. Inhaling, lifting the pelvis when you're ready, repeating those 5 breaths right at the top. And then exhaling super slowly down to the ground. Taking a moment here. Your option for finishing postures, you can have a taste of headstand. You can roll up to do shoulder stand. I'm going to teach shoulder stand today, and you can come and join us if you want to play with headstand first. So if we're doing shoulder stand, stretching those legs out in front of you, and we're going to use the core to bring those legs up in one straight line so the soles of the feet are reaching towards the ceiling. We're going to bring the elbows, tucking them into the sides, and we're going to roll up, placing the hands on the low back. Point the fingertips towards the hip bones. And then maybe walk up the back, coming into a nice long straight line. Maybe you stay where you are in a kind of supported plow, reaching the legs over. And if you can, interlinking the hands behind you and reaching those feet up. maybe coming into plow, maybe playing with Kana Pindasana. It's finding a way to end by rushing all that blood to your head. And allowing that Ujjayi breath to still be present, to still be there. And I'm going to invite you today to roll down as slowly as you can with all that core control onto the floor. Taking any last movements you need. Maybe you want an extra twist. We didn't do too many in today's practice. Finding whatever way you need to close the practice to come into your Shavasana. And I'm going to end the class on you in your own space, in your own way. I'm going to encourage you to spend some time now relaxing. And by that I mean allowing yourself to be. There is no doing. Allowing nothing to happen. Having no intentions for the next few minutes. Noticing how busy or quiet you have become. And knowing that that busyness and even that quietness is something quite apart from you. You are the sitting in the throne of your mind's eye, watching, observing. But you do not need to interact for the next few minutes. You can just be. Taking as long as you need here. When you're finished with your Shavasana, you can take a deep inhale and come up to seated. Bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Maybe saying one Om, or finding another way that you feel is appropriate to close your class, bowing to the floor. Thank you very much, everybody. You did great. Where's my... I've got all sorts going on. Something's popped up on my computer. That's fun. What have I got?